There comes a moment in life when your mind changes forever. Not because you learn something new, but because you finally see people clearly. And once you truly see human nature, you can never go back to the innocent version of yourself again. Maybe it happened quietly. Maybe it was a betrayal you never expected. A friend who disappeared when you needed them most. A person who swore loyalty, then chose convenience over you. Or maybe it was slower than that. A gradual realization that people often wear masks, not because they are evil, but because most humans are terrified of being seen for who they truly are. When you are young, you believe words. You believe smiles. You believe promises. But life teaches you to watch patterns instead. And the terrifying part is this. Once you begin noticing human behavior deeply, you start understanding why history keeps repeating itself, why love becomes manipulation, why kindness gets exploited, why lonely people stay in toxic relationships, why crowds follow lies more easily than truth. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." Most people never realize how unconscious human beings truly are, but you are beginning to see it. And this video is not about becoming cold or hateful. It is about what happens to your soul when illusion dies and awareness finally begins. Part 1. People rarely see you. They see what you represent. There is a painful moment that changes a person forever. It usually happens after giving your heart sincerely to someone. You support them, listen to them, stand beside them during difficult times. And for a while, they make you believe the connection is real. But then one day, something shifts. Maybe you become more successful, more confident, more independent, and suddenly the energy changes. Not because you changed into a bad person, but because your growth began triggering their insecurities. This is one of the darkest truths about human nature. Many relationships survive only when there is an unspoken imbalance. The moment you evolve beyond the role people assigned to you, they become uncomfortable. Some people only love the version of you that makes them feel superior, needed, or safe. That is why people sometimes punish honesty, but reward performance. A quiet example of this happens every day on social media. Someone posts happiness, success, transformation, and instead of inspiration, many people feel irritation. Why? Because human beings constantly compare themselves. Nietzsche believed envy was one of the hidden engines behind human behavior. Not open hatred, but silent resentment. You begin seeing this everywhere. The coworker who smiles but secretly competes with you. The friend who disappears after your breakthrough. The family member who discourages your dreams in the name of being realistic. It hurts because you once believed love naturally meant support. But human nature is more complicated than that. Many people are still fighting internal wars they never speak about. And instead of confronting their own pain, they project it onto others. Carl Jung called this the shadow, the hidden part of ourselves we refuse to face. The dangerous thing about the shadow is that people usually see it in others before they see it within themselves. That is why insecure people accuse others of arrogance. Dishonest people become suspicious of everyone. Emotionally unavailable people call vulnerability weakness. When you finally understand this, your mind changes. You stop taking every reaction personally. You realize that often, people are not responding to you at all. They are responding to the mirror you unintentionally become in their presence. And once you understand that, you stop begging to be understood by everyone. You become more observant, more careful, more awake. Part 2. Most people choose comfort over truth. At first, this realization feels almost impossible to accept. Because deep down, you assume people value honesty. You think if someone truly loves you, they would want reality, even if it hurts. But life slowly reveals something disturbing. Many human beings would rather protect their illusions than confront what is real. That is why toxic relationships survive for years. That is why corrupt leaders gain followers. That is why people stay loyal to environments that destroy them. Truth demands transformation. Illusion only demands obedience. And most people fear transformation because transformation requires the death of the identity they spent years build life. Imagine someone who spent their entire life believing they are a victim. If you suddenly show them that their own choices contributed to their suffering, it threatens their entire self-image. Their mind resists it immediately, not because the truth is false, but because the ego experiences truth as danger. This is why people become defensive when confronted, why families repeat generational trauma, why societies attack uncomfortable voices before listening to them. Plato described this perfectly in The Allegory of the Cave. Prisoners trapped in darkness mistake shadows for reality. And when one prisoner escapes and returns to tell the truth, the others reject him violently because the illusion feels safer than freedom. Human nature has not changed much since then. People still cling to familiar suffering because uncertainty terrifies them more than pain. You see it in everyday life. A person knows their partner is manipulating them, but stays. Someone hates their job every single day, but never leaves. People complain about their lives while secretly protecting the habits destroying them, because the unknown feels terrifying. And when you finally understand this, your relationship with people changes forever. You stop trying to save everyone. You stop exhausting yourself explaining reality to those committed to misunderstanding it. You realize awareness cannot be forced. Buddha once said, "Nothing can harm you as much as your own thoughts unguarded." Most people are imprisoned not by the world, but by the narratives inside their own minds. And this realization can make you lonely for a while. Because once you begin valuing truth deeply, small talk starts feeling empty. Fake personalities become easier to notice. You become sensitive to manipulation, emotional games, and performative behavior. You begin craving depth instead of attention, silence instead of noise, authenticity instead of approval. But there is also freedom in this awakening, because the moment you stop expecting unconscious people to suddenly become conscious, you stop carrying unnecessary disappointment. You learn to accept human beings as they are, not as you hoped they would be. And strangely enough, that acceptance makes you wiser, not colder. You stop trying to control human nature. You simply learn how to navigate it without losing yourself inside it. Part 3. The world rewards masks more than authenticity. As children, we are taught to be ourselves, but adulthood quietly teaches a different lesson. Smile even when you are exhausted. Say, "I'm fine" when you are falling apart. Hide your pain, hide your fear, hide your confusion. Because the world is uncomfortable with raw honesty. And slowly, without realizing it, people begin building masks. Carl Jung warned about this when he spoke about the persona, the social mask human beings create to survive acceptance. The persona is not always fake. Sometimes it is necessary. But the danger begins when people become so attached to the mask that they completely forget who they really are underneath it. You see this everywhere now. People perform happiness online while battling depression in silence. Relationships look perfect publicly, but collapse privately. Some people build entire identities based on status, money, beauty, intelligence, or popularity. Not because those things fulfill them, but because they fear being invisible without them. Human beings desperately want to belong, and that desire makes people betray themselves every society. A man hides his emotions because society taught him vulnerability is weakness. A woman changes her personality to avoid rejection. A creator stops expressing honest ideas because controversy threatens approval. This is why so many people feel empty even after achieving success. Because deep inside, they know the world applauded the mask, not the soul beneath your. And when you finally see this clearly, your mind begins changing in dangerous and beautiful ways at the same time. Dangerous because you start losing illusions. Beautiful because you stop worshipping appearances. You begin understanding why confident people sometimes feel insecure, why loud people are often deeply lonely, why some of the kindest souls hide behind silence. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one." That quote becomes powerful once you understand how performative modern life has become. Most people are trying to look valuable instead of becoming valuable. And there is a massive difference between the two. One seeks validation, the other seeks truth. When this realization fully enters your mind, your priorities begin shifting. You stop chasing rooms where you must constantly perform to be accepted. You become more protective of your energy, more selective with friendships, more drawn toward people whose presence feels peaceful instead of impressive. Because now you understand something most people never realize. Real connection only happens when masks fall. And sadly, many people go their entire lives without ever being truly seen, not because nobody loved them, but because they were too afraid to reveal themselves honestly. So the question becomes terrifyingly simple. If the world stopped rewarding your image tomorrow, would you still recognize who you are? Part 4. Seeing human nature should not make you bitter, because after all the betrayal, after all the disappointment, after seeing manipulation, envy, ego, selfishness, and emotional masks, a dangerous temptation appears. You begin thinking becoming cold is wisdom, but it is not. It is only wounded intelligence pretending to be strength. Many people reach awareness and become cynical. They stop trusting, stop loving, stop believing in goodness entirely. And at first, it feels powerful, as if detachment protects them from pain. But over time, bitterness becomes another prison. Because when pain hardens your soul completely, the people who hurt you still control your life, just in a different form. The real awakening is not hating humanity. The real awakening is understanding humanity without losing your own humanity in the process. That is rare, very rare. Anyone can become cruel after suffering, but remaining conscious, calm, and compassionate in a world full of unconscious behavior that requires enormous inner strength. Lao Tzu once said, "Knowing others is intelligence. Knowing yourself is true wisdom." And this is where everything changes, because eventually you stop obsessing over human nature out there and start confronting the human nature inside yourself. Your ego, your fears, your jealousy, your need for validation, your hidden anger. You realize the same darkness you judged in others also exists within you in smaller forms, and instead of becoming self-hating, you become humble, more aware, more intentional. That humility transforms the way you move through life. You stop expecting perfection from people because you finally understand everyone is carrying invisible wounds, unconscious patterns, and internal chaos. Some people simply hide it better than others. This does not mean tolerating abuse. It does not mean allowing disrespect. Wisdom still requires boundaries. But now your boundaries come from clarity, not hatred. You no longer need revenge to heal. You no longer need constant approval to feel valuable. You no longer panic when people misunderstand you. Because once you truly see human nature, you stop building your identity around external validation altogether. And that freedom changes everything. You begin enjoying solitude instead of fearing it. You value peace more than attention, depth more than popularity, truth more than comfort. And slowly, your mind becomes quieter, stronger, more observant. You stop reacting emotionally to every betrayal because you understand something now. People reveal themselves through patterns, not promises. And perhaps the deepest realization of all is this: human beings are neither angels nor monsters. Most are simply unconscious, lost people searching for meaning while hiding their pain behind identities, ambitions, addictions, and distractions, including us. And maybe that understanding is what finally allows compassion and wisdom to exist together. So if your mind has been changing lately, if you feel more aware of people, more sensitive to manipulation, more detached from shallow connections, do not panic. Sometimes awareness feels lonely before it feels liberating. You are not becoming heartless. You are simply seeing reality more clearly than before. And the goal is not to lose faith in humanity. The goal is to stop being blind to it. Because once illusion dies, something more powerful is born: discernment, inner peace, and the ability to walk through this world without constantly losing yourself to it. If this video spoke to a part of you that words usually cannot reach, subscribe to Pure Wisdom White and join the journey toward deeper awareness, truth, and self-mastery. And remember, the moment you truly understand human nature is the moment you finally begin understanding yourself.